Hi everyone, how's everyone going? Before I start, can I just acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Oh, is that the first slide? Is there not one before that? Who's working the slides? Okay, there's meant to be a slide up there about my career path because that's what we're here to talk about today. So, hands up who knows what they want to do in 10 years' time. Okay, that's pretty impressive. Back when I was your age, I had no idea what I wanted to do. The slide up there would have said I was just concentrating on being an Australian netballer. 30 years ago and 30 kilos ago, I played a lot of netball. I played tests for Australia against Tonga and Papua New Guinea, and all I wanted to do was play netball for Australia. So I didn't really pay much attention at school. I didn't really do any homework, didn't really worry about going to uni, and then I did a knee injury. So ACL, long story short, couldn't play netball anymore. So while my friends were all going to university, they all sort of had an idea what they wanted to do. I was a bit lost. I didn't know what to do. So I think it's a good lesson in not putting all your eggs in one basket, sort of seeing what options are out there and what opportunities are available to you. So while my friends went to uni, I travelled. I saved up, I worked at a retail job. So who here does work experience at school? Okay, so when I was offered to do work experience, I wanted to be, again, into sport. So I wanted to do biomechanics at the Australian Institute of Sport. We're in Canberra. The AIS is in Canberra. Then I asked my career advisor, can I do work experience at the AIS? And they said no. Obviously, they take third-year university students who do biomechanics, not some year 10 high school student. So my career person just put me in a job in retail, as at a sports store. So that was my job. So when I finished year 12, again, not knowing what I wanted to do, I just continued working in that retail shop while my friends went to uni, did really cool stuff. I then travelled the world. There would have been a few photos up there of me drinking whiskey in Scotland. You know, I didn't run with the Bulls, but a lot of people I know ran with the Bulls. But while my friends, they were at uni, they didn't quite know what they wanted to do. A lot of them changed degrees midway. So they studied law for 2 years, and then they might have thought, oh, law's not for me, what else can I do? Back then, it wasn't a big deal, but nowadays you have to pay for your university degree, and it's quite expensive. So you sort of want to work out what you want to do before you get there, but don't feel locked into it. Once you do get to uni, you can totally change what you want to study. You might get interested in something else. It might lead you onto all different pathways. Okay, so travelling. I thought, better get back to Australia and work out what I want to do. So has anyone heard of Michael Moore? Okay, you put your hand up quite enthusiastically. What does he do? Right, so Michael Moore's an American documentary sort of current affairs documentary maker. He wrote a few books, a lot of them quite successful. He also did some really good documentaries that shone a light on a certain social injustices and things that needed to be talked about. I was very inspired by that. So I thought, media production. So went back, got a pretty decent, we called them UAC score, I think it's called ATAR now. Got a first round offer into Canberra Uni. I could have studied at quite a few campuses around Australia. It's a really good way, if you can, try different campus, try and study overseas. I ended up just being in Canberra with all my friends. It was a great time, learned a lot of stuff. For our third year, we got to concentrate on 2 different streams. You could do journalism or you could actually do media production. So obviously I chose media production. One of our assignments was to make a documentary. My documentary won some prizes, ended up working for ABC. One of those prizes was work experience at ABC. So that started my career, would have been an ABC career, ABC logo. So started working for ABC. My major was politics. So obviously worked at the Press Gallery, ABC as a researcher and a producer. I worked at Parliament House for 17 years. Now, back then, I was there in the year 2000. That's when I first started. Can anyone name who was Australia's Prime Minister in the year 2000? Someone's, okay, dude over there. John Howard, great. Can I get him to give him a prize? Thank you very much. John Howard, yes. So you can tell how long ago that was. That was many prime ministers ago, and the world was totally different back in 2000. I learnt a lot at ABC. I was countless budget lockups, countless elections. I've been yelled at by prime ministers. I've knocked out federal treasurers. I've gotten drunk with a few of them. Really good times. But then I had to get serious. So 17 years, it was a great career. But then I thought, I need a job that actually pays decent money. Like, I loved working at ABC, but we all need to earn money, don't we? Who doesn't want to earn money? You don't want to earn money. There's some great jobs for you then. So I had to get serious. You know, I had a mortgage, I had kids, so I had to change my career paths. And it's a really good opportunity to sort of look around, talk to people, all the people that you've ever worked with, you've ever studied with, see what they're doing, if they like their jobs. I obviously wanted to work at a place where I felt valued and what I was doing contributed to Australian society. It sounds really boring, but the Australian Public Service is a really great place to work, depending on which agency you choose to work for. There's quite a lot, but it's really good employment. So during COVID, I didn't have to worry about losing my job. I could work from home. I had all the support structures I needed. A lot of my friends were losing their jobs. They had to relocate. There's a lot of issues to consider when you sort of want to work in the workforce. So ASD. So then started at Department of Defence, which is great. It was a really good introduction to the public service. You learn a lot. The public service isn't just like a desk job. There's so many careers and opportunities. So you could be a biologist. You can be a computer scientist. You can be a mathematician. You can be just a data analyst. Like, it's really, there's a whole range. So then I worked at this, finally moved to the Australian Signals Directorate 2 years ago. Now, a few of you have come up and had a talk to us before. Does anyone know what ASD means? Okay, there's a guy just put his hand up with the yellow stripe. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, so ASD. So Australian Signals Directorate. So a lot of people don't know that we exist. So we're actually an agency that's 75 years old. We started in World War II. For 75 years we've existed, but we've been under the Department of Defence. Not even people in the Department of Defence knew we worked there. So basically, World War II happened, a lot of codes, a lot of missions, a lot of secret intelligence. We were code breakers. We were part of the team that cracked with the Enigma machine. That sort of started the whole thing called Five Eyes Partnership. So Five Eyes Partnership is a very strategic partnership amongst us, America, UK, New Zealand, and Canada. We share intelligence. So we're part of the national intelligence community. There are a few agencies in Australia that contribute to that community. There are a range of missions and operations we do, but basically our motto is reveal their secrets, protect our own. So it's, a lot of people call us spies. That's just, we collect foreign intelligence. We work under very strict protocols and regulations in the Intelligence Security Act. So ASD, we can collect foreign intelligence of anyone and any nation outside of Australia. ASIO, under their remit, can collect intelligence of people in Australia. So that's the differences between us. So obviously, there's a lot of different operations and missions that we work on. A lot of them I can't tell you about, it's actually classified. We do all the cool stuff. I was telling a few people that came up to us earlier today about sort of what we do, trying to like make it a bit more relatable. And I was sort of trying to use the James Bond analogy. So James Bond's cool. He usually has an Omega watch and is dressed really well. He walks into an office and they go, James, you got to go to Turkey. There's someone we need you to find out about. So we're the guys that collect the information, tells James, you got to go to Turkey. So our operations collects foreign intelligence, and we use that intelligence to inform our strategic partners and our regional partners to act on that intelligence. Now, obviously signals has changed over the years. No one's on their radio anymore, no one's tapping away at Morse code. Cyber has opened a whole new way of communicating and a whole different aspect of getting intelligence. So, okay, that's our 75 years, sorry. I was meant to say we had a coin release last year. It was actually the last coin minted when the Queen was still alive. She passed away probably a week later. And there was 4 layers of code on that coin. It sold out within 24 hours, but a 14-year-old in Tasmania was the first one that solved it. Like I said, we're a very big organisation. For 75 years we've existed. For 70 years we were in defence. We're now a statutory agency. That's our Director General, Rachel Noble. And we also have the Australian Cybersecurity Centre under us. So that is an agency that, like all the cool people that you've heard talking today, Animal Logic, Space Agency, probably some industry partners, if they have any issues with cyber, they've got to come to us. They have to report to us under legislation. Finally, it's mandatory now. And we're the ones that go in and find out what happened, what stuff they took, what vulnerabilities happened, what have people done with that information. Can anyone tell me what the average time it takes for an agency to know they've been hacked? Dude over there. 24 hours? 100 days. So there are a lot of businesses out there, a lot of businesses that protect the critical infrastructure that you rely on every day: health, medical, education, transport. They don't know that they've had someone in their systems attacking it. So we go in, work out what was done. So obviously, cool jobs there. But we've just been given 10... Oh, okay, so this one says Red Spice. So Red Spice is some funding we got last year, just before the change of government. $10 billion is what was given to our agency. And that is to double our workforce and triple our capability. Part of that capability is offensive cyber. So can anyone tell me what offensive cyber is? Technically, yeah, it's like hacking. So it's white hat. So we can go in, again, under our remit, we can't do anything inside Australia. We can go in as teams and work out what other countries are doing, what other organisations are doing, check for their vulnerabilities. Do we need to use those vulnerabilities? Do our partners need to use those vulnerabilities? So offensive cyber is a really fast-growing, really great industry. Okay, that's just jobs. So basically, doubling our workforce means we need people. We're an agency that has 2,000 people, we need to be 4,000. So that's why we're here. Like I said, we existed for so long, but no one knew we existed. People don't know Australian Signals Directorate is. So we have a lot of jobs. Traditionally, had to move to Canberra. I don't know if anyone's been to Canberra winter. It's very cold. Okay? Now you can work in Brisbane. You can work in Perth. You can work in Melbourne. We've got offices everywhere around the world and all around Australia. So if some of you actually came to our desk, we probably gave you some little cards about our entry-level pathway systems. There's so many ways. There's so many options available to all of you if you want to work at ASD or basically any government agency. You can do apprenticeships. You can do work experience. Cadetships, internships. It's a variety of ways you can do. We also support a lot of programs, so that's why we're here today. We support the Australian Computer Society, so we can sort of talk to you students. Heaps of girls programming networks. That's our work experience program. You can see it's sort of opening up. So that's again in Canberra, but it's a really great opportunity. It's a week-long cybersecurity and robotics week. You can do lots of cool stuff. And that's about it. So I'm the last speaker today, so if we only have a few questions, you guys get to leave here earlier. So does anyone have any questions? Okay, can I get the girl standing up waving? Okay, the question was, why does it take so long for a company to know that they've been hacked? Because the hackers are really smart. The technology that they use is very sophisticated and it's only getting better. They don't know. They have no idea until maybe the hackers issue a ransomware or the hackers release some data. That's when they go, probably a few swear words, oh my God, they call us. They have no idea. It's really crazy. Yes, the girl just there with all the pins. The next milestone for ASD. So our remit has just gotten a lot bigger. I think it's a critical... Oh, do you want to give her... Yeah, she's got some stuff to give. Cybersecurity is really important, but it's only probably 20% of what we do. We have to ensure that the nation has got the security and the cyber uplift and the hygiene needed to protect critical infrastructure and also our regional partners, because if they're not safe, we're not safe. I think the next milestone is to embed Red Spice and the tripling our capability, making sure we've got the right people, the right tech, so we can do our job a bit better. Oh, so many kids. Yep. Why wasn't ASD known for so long? So basically, it's really bizarre actually talking to you all today about ASD, because traditionally you don't tell people where you work. I don't have any social media. When we go out of our buildings, we remove our pass. It's so we we're vulnerable we have access to systems and information that people want, so you've really got to keep your identity. So back in the days, there's actually a book that's about to be launched, which is the history of ASD for our anniversary, and the people didn't even tell their family where they worked. So we were always in what they call in the shadows, and now we're coming out of the shadows. And it's really hard when you need to recruit people. That's why we're actually doing all this sort of stuff. That's why it's really hard to recruit people if they don't know what you do. And to be honest, there's a lot of agencies, like a lot of work we do, I don't even know what they do. I'm not allowed to know what they do. So it's really hard to sort of try and sell you guys to say, hey, come work for us when we don't know what to do. This girl just... Sorry? Start a career? Okay, so I think the question was, how do you start a career? You're already starting. You're already interested in STEM. You're already interested in science. You're interested in the world. You're interested in opportunities. You're curious. That's what we want. We want problem solvers. We want people that can think differently. We want neurodiversity. We want a range of people. The only problem is you have to be an Australian citizen. That's the only caveat to work for us. But I think there's so many opportunities. Get onto our website. There's codes on our website. There's games on our website. There's quizzes on our websites to see if you can sort of do anything like that. But you're already starting. The person just there. Sorry? Are there any foreign postings in the ASD? Yes, we're everywhere. We've got traditional roles within our 5 eyes partners. So there was a job the other week in Hawaii. I was even tempted. Probably didn't have the skills needed, but there's Hawaii, there's liaisons in Washington, we work in the UK, we work everywhere pretty much in the world. The range of possibilities is endless. There's some dude up there totally waving his hands, I think wearing a bandana.
That are designed to hack, or do they just go onto a website, put in the link?
Okay, that was a really good question. I don't know how much time I've got, but the question was, do hackers use the computers that we use? Pretty much is the question. Yeah, so there's probably software on the dark web that you can buy that would help out an average hacker. They're not as everyone thinks a hacker is a state actor. There's a lot. The Ukraine war actually taught us that any motivated group can do individual hacking attacks. You can all try and target one system or not. Any tech and any computer can pretty much be set up and manipulated to hack. One of the really great opportunities at ASD is that we break tech so we can make it differently and use it for different purposes, and they do too. The dude with the torch.
On average, how many firewalls would a company have?
Was that on average how many firewalls? Yeah, so that's actually a really good question for a border question. So every job and every job you will ever have, there'll be some sort of tech involved. There'll be some cybersecurity involved. You could be a florist. You could be a landscaper. You're going to have some sort of tech to protect the data that you have, either your customers' data, the financial data, whatever. Firewalls are designed to stop people getting through. It's sort of to stop vulnerabilities. They're actually a lot of them aren't very sophisticated. You can get basic ones, but as long as they follow the Essential 8, which is a product developed by the Australian Cybersecurity Centre, they generally have the basic cyber hygiene to stop most attacks. And I think Telstra has an ad at the moment. Some dude's driving a SUV and he's surrounded by military people, sort of saying how much they stop in the cyber attacks. That's pretty much it. Time? One more question. So many torches. Which side? Who's got a really cool question that will stump me? Okay, no, you've already said. The girl with the hat. The orange hat.
Do hackers normally hack into your organisation? What do you do after that?
Okay, so legislation just changed last year. It's called Saison's legislation. They split the bill in 2 parts. Any business that gets hacked has to legally and mandatory tell us the incident. We go in and protect them. I think that's sort of the question. Yeah. So basically, we protect everyone who gets hacked. If you have a problem, you report it. A lot of the people that we get reports from, it might be kids like you that an image has been uploaded, or they got an email saying a delivery is about to come and they've clicked on the link. A lot of people report that to our 24/7 operations room, but then they sort of triage it out to the actual, so AFP do a lot of that sort of reporting. So if you feel like you've had any vulnerabilities or anything, do report it. ACCC Scamwatch, our 24/7 operations room, because it's surprisingly how many attacks happen daily. And can I just have one more? I think I've got 2 minutes. The dude in the tie. Okay, publicly, obviously Optus and Medibank. They've been the most, and I think the reason why they resonated with most people is the actual fact that they had people's privacy and people's data. That's really scary. So make sure all your settings are up to scratch, make sure you got your updates, and be really careful about who you follow and what you post and what you do online. Like I said, we need security clearances to work where I work. If you apply for a job in the national intelligence community, and quite frankly in a lot of professional industries, what you do now is going to affect your security clearance in the future. Okay, I think 1 minute, one more question. The girl there in like the, yep. Okay, that's a really good question. So I'm part of the national intelligence community. What would happen if I wanted to quit my job? Once I got my PV, which is called positive vetting, I have to go through briefings, A, C, D, B briefings. I get debriefed. There's obviously a lot of protocols I have to follow, and there's still a lot of, it's not hurdles, there's a lot of information that I need to go through and probably actual things, but I get debriefed, which means I get debriefed out, and then if I ever wanted to go work in the National Intelligence Agency again, I have to be rebriefed. It's a great few hours and days of your life. I think that's it. So thank you very much.